Doug. About two-thirds of the American population lives in a city. Sure, the convenience and excitement are great, but city living may be rough. Because some city may look like this. But how could we make this better? I'm thinking a beautiful utopian from scratch, the best city ever. So me and my team, including Haling, Hachang, and Hill City. So let us begin.
First one, we will talk about the locations. We want somewhere with a good water supply, so near a lake would be great. Somewhere scenic, obviously with moderate but not extreme seasons. And we want our city to be small enough to avoid lots of congestions and overcrowding, but still large enough to have all the amenities of city folks know and love. Let's say 65 kilometers and about 500,000 people. A square with 8 by 8 kilometer grid layout would make this city super easy to navigate.
We have timely, efficient subway running in straight line crisscrossing under the city, but above ground transportation could be limited to bike path and walkway. A careless city might sound a bit extreme, but cities like Paris are already losing expressway to figure bike and walking. This keeps citizens healthier and reduce pollution. Solar panels and wind turbines outside the city and on top of the building could also lengthen the emissions and help our utopian city stay green. A city with no pollution sounds ideal, and the city that I currently live in is very smoky, with lots of air and water pollution.
Our buildings would follow this eco-friendly path. We would construct a densely packed city with a mix of green office, high-rises, and residential buildings. Vienna does this to help reduce transport time to keep the city feeling homey. All our buildings would be nice to look at, and the skyscrapers would be covered with vertical gardens like they are in Singapore. People could reach out their window and pick some veggies for their salad or some flowers for their loved ones, or gather all their tomatoes and throw them at bad comedians, whichever you would prefer.
And we want to put a lot of focus on the social aspect of our cities, making us enjoyable as possible. Think of schools, fun extracurricular activities, close-knit communities. The legal system would also favor rehabilitations over punishment. Prisoners are super expensive and have very high recarceration rates, so we would focus on treating offenders to keep our city population safe and sound. We would also keep our city green with street lamps that have sensors to adjust their brightness depending on how many people are out and about, like they do in Amsterdam.
In order to keep the cost of living down, the government could construct many of the apartment buildings and offer them up for sale at a low cost. 80% of people living in Singapore live in this type of government buildings, and it supposedly fosters a nice sense of community and belonging.
So why haven't we created the perfect city yet? On paper, it doesn't sound that hard, but the execution would definitely be costly, and it requires a lot of government collaboration. It's hard to put a price on the hypothetical city, but based on the other cities' construction from ground up, it would estimately about $20 to $40 billion. So, not cheap.
One thing's for sure though, if we can get this utopian city funded and up and running, it be one amazing place to live. On top of that, if this city could be created, it would bring massive benefits to the residents.